Welcome to Liberation Lens, where stories unfold beyond the headlines and perspective truly matters. History isn't finished, it's unfolding. This is Liberation Lens. Perspective matters.
Welcome to Liberation Lens, Perspective Matters. Today, we journey into one of the most chilling untold chapters of global nuclear politics. A story buried beneath silence, sealed in racism, and whispered through the corridors of Western diplomacy. This is the haunting tale of South Africa's secret nuclear arsenal, built under the shadow of apartheid. It is shielded by powerful allies in the West, and dismantled just in time to deny it to the indigenous African-led democracy rising in its place. But this isn't just about bombs. It's about betrayal. About who gets to wield destruction in the name of peace. It's about a world order where Caucasians are trusted with the atom, and African non-Caucasian sovereignty is treated as a threat. This is nuclear apartheid. This is the blueprint of hypocrisy. And this is the lens through which we begin to challenge the lies that built the global system we live in. Let's begin with when South Africa built its nuclear arsenal. South Africa quietly initiated its nuclear weapons program during the height of apartheid in the mid-1960s under Prime Minister Hendrik Verwoerd. By the 1980s, the apartheid government had produced 6 nuclear bombs, capable of devastating entire cities, with a potential 7th warhead quickly deployable. Although South Africa officially denied conducting nuclear tests, international experts widely suspected it carried out a secret nuclear explosion known as the Warheads incident, in the Indian Ocean in 1979. As Al-J. Venter reveals in his 2008 book, How South Africa Built 6 Atom Bombs. These nuclear weapons represented apartheid South Africa's ultimate tool of deterrence, power, and international leverage. But who actually built South Africa's nuclear weapons? The secretive Atomic Energy Corporation, known initially as the Atomic Energy Board, together with Armscor, South Africa's weapons development agency, built and oversaw this lethal program at Pelindaba, near Pretoria. Remarkably, Israel provided significant covert support, including the exchange of uranium and missile technology. Sasha Polikow-Saransky details in his 2010 book, The Unspoken Alliance, how this clandestine cooperation highlighted an uncomfortable alliance rooted in shared geopolitical and ideological interests. That notwithstanding, why did Western powers allow apartheid South Africa to build and develop nuclear weapons? At the heart of South Africa's nuclear development lay a troubling international contradiction. While the West publicly condemned apartheid, behind closed doors, the United States, Britain, and France viewed South Africa as a strategic Cold War ally, crucial to limiting Soviet influence in Southern Africa. According to Walter Rodney, whose seminal work, How Europe Underdeveloped Africa, exposed colonial economic exploitation, Western corporations profited enormously from South Africa's vast mineral wealth. Thus, economic interests combined with Cold War ideology resulted in silent complicity. The West overlooked apartheid's nuclear ambitions, selectively enforcing the Global Non-Proliferation Treaty, NPT, demonstrating stark racial and geopolitical double standards. Even more intriguing is, why were South African nuclear weapons dismantled? In 1989, President F.W. de Klerk suddenly ordered the dismantling of South Africa's nuclear arsenal. By 1991, all nuclear warheads were destroyed, confirmed by the International Atomic Energy Agency in 1993. But why dismantle these potent weapons? As Peter Lieberman, professor of political science, emphasized in his detailed study The Rise and Fall of the South African Bomb. The apartheid regime primarily feared nuclear weapons falling into the hands of an indigenous African-majority ANC government. Such racialized anxiety was shared, implicitly, by Western governments, who silently encouraged the apartheid government to remove any nuclear capability before the transfer of political power. Doesn't this speak volumes of Western hypocrisy, nuclear apartheid, and the transfer of power? The dismantlement of South Africa's nuclear program exposes a deeper hypocrisy, the concept of nuclear apartheid. Under Caucasian minority rule, South Africa's nuclear program was quietly tolerated by the Western powers. When the apartheid regime faced inevitable collapse, these same powers insisted nuclear weapons must not fall into the hands of indigenous Africans, suggesting deep-seated racial biases underpinning nuclear governance. Sasha Polico-Saransky emphasizes this hypocrisy, highlighting that while Western countries actively enforced nuclear disarmament in states like Iraq or Iran, South Africa's nuclear ambitions were tacitly supported due to racial and geopolitical considerations. Andrew Purvis, writing for Time magazine in 1993, noted clearly, Western nations were comfortable with apartheid South Africa holding nuclear weapons, yet fearful of indigenous African-majority ANC inheriting them. Thus, dismantling South African nuclear weapons became politically expedient for the West and the outgoing apartheid government. This approach aimed to prevent nuclear technology from becoming accessible to indigenous Africans. The decision wasn't simply about global security, but was fundamentally shaped by racial anxieties and Western geopolitical preferences. What are the implications? Would you talk of nuclear apartheid over global justice? South Africa's nuclear episode clearly illustrates nuclear apartheid, a global hierarchy wherein nuclear weapons symbolize not just military might but racialized geopolitical power. While states in the global south such as Iran or North Korea are isolated, sanctioned, or threatened militarily for mere suspicion of nuclear ambitions, apartheid South Africa, just like Israel, was afforded silent accommodation due to racial and strategic biases. B.S. Chimney, in his work Third World Approaches to International Law, argues that the international community is largely a Western construct, selectively enforcing norms to protect powerful interests. South Africa's nuclear history exemplifies this hypocrisy, highlighting the urgent need for reforming the deeply unequal global nuclear order. It reflects today's free ride afforded to Israel over Iran, and potentially over the global south. What then could one say about lessons and resistance relative to Africa and the global south? Despite the troubling history, the dismantlement of South Africa's nuclear weapons also symbolizes hope. Hope in the sense that it provides proof that disarmament is possible. Yet, it demands addressing systemic inequalities and racialized assumptions entrenched within international governance. Today, African nations and global South movements advocate for genuine equality in nuclear politics, calling for complete global disarmament, not selectively, but universally. The African Nuclear Weapon-Free Zone Treaty, Treaty of Pelindaba, 1996, embodies Africa's stand against nuclear proliferation, promoting collective regional security over militarized racial hierarchies. Overall, South Africa's nuclear story isn't just a footnote in Cold War history. It is a mirror held up to the face of global power. It reveals a world where nuclear privilege is guarded by race, where peace is conditional, and where justice is selectively applied. Let's be clear on this. Apartheid didn't build the bomb alone. It was built with silence, with complicity, and with Western hands cloaked in diplomacy. And when that power was set to shift, from the Caucasian minority rule to indigenous African majority leadership, the bombs vanished, not out of principle, but out of fear. This isn't disarmament. It's discrimination dressed as security. This is nuclear apartheid. And the lesson echoes far beyond Pretoria. As long as power is defined by who holds the bomb and who is denied it, peace will remain a lie told by the powerful to the powerless. Dismantling warheads isn't enough. We must dismantle the global systems that decide who gets to live under the shadow of a mushroom cloud, and who gets to drop it. This is Liberation Lens, Perspective Matters. Because justice isn't selective. And sovereignty is not a privilege. It's a right.
You have just seen the world through a different lens. Subscribe, comment, share, and help amplify voices that deserve to be heard. Until next time, keep looking deeper. Liberation Lens, Perspective Matters.